It's running, so just point at things.
I've been in a film class for a few years. I got it.
Feel free to ask specific things. You will not offend me. If you want to try, go ahead. I think that will just make this more fun.
What's easier to write about, falling in love or getting heartbroken?
It's way easier to write about heartbreak. To write about any negative emotion, really. When you're angry, you're divided. And division is what language is. Light, dark. Up, down. Like, that's how words begin. They are born with their opposites. And when you're angry, you're in a place of division, so words just flow out of you. The challenge is to make those words actually something useful and not something that's just emo. No one loves me, and it's because no one understands, and I am alone. No one wants to read that, and you don't want to be that, so don't. Why am I barefoot? Well, okay, so first of all, like, running is bad for your knees and your hips and everything. Because you have padding on your heels, you're allowed to run in a way that your body was not meant to run, which is impact, 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 and that goes joint, 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 and then you get all this inflammation. So I had a lot of damage like that all through college and stuff. First time I went barefoot running, nothing was sore above mid-calf. So the sensory reason that I like to go around barefoot when I'm not running is because it's like taking sunglasses off of your senses. What the floors feel like in this room, or what this metal feels like on this. Like, I'm absorbing sensory information through my feet, and it's delicious. So that's why I go around barefoot.
Is it weird driving without shoes, or?
No, it's really easy. You just have no shoes on.
It's so much harder. You have to, like, press harder.
Or can I give you a little pro tip?
Sure.
Seat adjuster, half an inch forward. Now you don't have to press because your feet are closer to the pedal.
That is true, but I still think it's harder. At least in my experience.
Yes, you may, but you're wrong.
That's a good answer.
So I saw like your poems were kind of in like a swirly pattern, or sometimes it would be just blocks of things. And I wanted to know like why you develop these sort of patterns in your poetry.
Doesn't it look way better and like more fun to read?
Yeah, that's
Answer.
just it.
That's it. Yeah.
When you're like formatting that, do you just press the spacebar a bunch of times, or tab and spacebar combination?
No tabs, all spaces.
Do you count how many times you press the spacebar?
Yeah,
so
go
you get
1, 2, 3, 4,
exactly
5, 6,
right?
7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. You can let him go if you want. You know, let's just stop with the raising hands. You can just start talking.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, how long does it take you to write a poem on average?
Half an hour if they're just flowing, to like 6, 8, 10 hours. But that's the first draft, right? Then I come back to them years later. So actually getting a final poem takes years. But it's like baking bread. That most of the time it's just sitting.
Do you have a favorite poem you've written? I know you have like a lot.
I have ones that I've memorized. That's how I know the ones that I really like. They call the toilet a throne, the balance. So those two are really good.
Do you have like favorite poets that you like reading?
I like E.E. Cummings and William Blake. Those are poets that I like.
Both of whom we read this year.
Has anybody read B.J. Novak's One More Thing, Stories and Other Stories?
Oh, I saw that last week.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's really good.
Back in the office?
Yeah. And this book, there's the shortest story sort of approaches poetry, and it's called The Kindness of Cakes. And it's this child asking their mother, "Mom, why do carrot cakes have the best frosting?" And she goes, "Because they need the best frosting."
Okay, so if you're like 34, how are you friends with Mr. Zioli?
We met through Aikido. We trained together for several years, and then I met his sons and found out that Alan is a horrible father and that he has not let his kids watch either Star Wars or Indiana Jones. So once I found that out, we started doing movie nights on a pretty regular basis. You need to watch In Bruges. Adaptation, any movie by Charlie Kaufman, but definitely adaptation. If you're just like a nature person, if people have ever called you like Nature Child or like Mowgli or whatever, watch Human Nature.
Who would win in a fight, you or Mr. Zioli?
It depends on the day, it depends on how you're feeling. All it takes is one little distracted moment where you open up and somebody takes advantage of it, and you're on the ground. So in a fight, it's a crapshoot. I don't know.
He has more good days than bad days.
Oh, me.
What about like in this classroom right now?
In this classroom right now,
With
what?
dogs. Who'd win?
Between me and the dogs?
No.
Dogs are, if they turned on me, I'd have no chance.
Dogs or cats?
Definitely dogs.
No.
You're asking my opinion. You're not asking like.
Well, I feel like cats are genetically superior.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. Well, I'm not talking about superiority. I'm talking about which blends better with my personality. And I am a dog spirit in the human body, so I like dogs. But when I was volunteering at the Harbor Animal Shelter, there's the dog people who worked with the dogs, and there's the cat people who worked with the cats. And this encapsulates cat people versus dog people. Whenever we wanted to name a dog, like the dog people would get together and say, "Oh, what do you think would be a good name for this dog? Do you have an idea? Like, what does this dog seem like to you?" And we'd talk about it. We'd come up with a name, and we'd encourage each other. Cat people would name cats, and then other cat people would come and cross the names out and add the name that they gave the cat. That's the difference between cat people and dog people. I'm a dog person.
What's your political ideology?
I have a Bernie Sanders shirt.
Okay.
I really prefer to just talk in terms of who's representing what I think is the public interest the best. I feel like putting labels on yourself is, in this kind of divisive political climate, is just giving people shorthand for hating you.
Yeah.
They're just like, what's your stance on this thing? It's like, how about we talk about it? It's the same thing as when somebody comes up to you and says, "Are you a believer in God?" I'm like, which God? How about we just talk about the nature of God for an hour? I'd much rather answer that than like put a quick label on myself. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're a nature person. What's the most like amazing natural scenery you've ever seen?
I was in Tulum over spring break, and they have these things called cenotes. There are these rocky areas that collect water that percolates through the jungle, and so you have these pristine, like clear water pools. And they let you go, and some of them are in caves, and so you get to dive down and swim. And because I'm so skinny, they put life vests on you for safety. And everybody else is like, oh, I can't go under, and I just like turned and pulled and was like straight down to the bottom. So I got to swim and see the fish, and I also got to find a pair of black socks and a piece of bubble gum. And that was pretty amazing.
What did you do with the socks and the bubble gum?
I brought them out and left them.
You didn't eat the bubble gum?
I know you're just kidding, and I'm giving you a face that shows you that I know you're kidding, but you're not funny.
It's the same face
I
Mr.
know you
Zioli
can
gives
take
him.
it, I wouldn't tease you if I didn't think you could take it.
Aww. Yes. Bros. Just two. Back to dogs.
Josh, are you an introvert or extrovert?
Definitely an extrovert. I'm energized by people.
Do you dream in third person or first person?
First person. I'm always in my eyes. Are you a third person dreamer?
Yeah.
What? So you're like out there like seeing yourself?
Are you a vegan like Mr. Zioli?
Are you a vegan?
He's a big vegan.
No, I'm not a vegan. I get asked that a lot though.
No, it's because you're earthy. If you're earthy, you're a vegetarian.
Do you have a similar obsession with Helen Bendler?
No, I don't know Helen Bendler.
Oh, Mr. Zioli, get him out of here right now.
Oh my gosh, make him read and annotate it. The whole thing.
The whole book.
My imaginary friends were both dogs.
Interesting.
Do you believe in therapy?
I tried out a couple of therapists. They didn't take, therapy is a lot like dating.
What's the most favorite thing about yourself?
What's my favorite thing about myself? My cheeky answer is my high arches. I'm really proud of these things. Right?
I've never heard of that.
Like, my real favorite thing about myself, I'm really highly sensitive, and I'm a good hugger.
You can attest to that.
How cold does it need to be for you to put on shoes?
If it's not cold enough for gloves, it's not cold enough for shoes. That's the rule.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
How many pairs of shoes do you actually own? If you never...
Why is this what's coming up? This happened in the last class, too. I've got, like, 5 pairs of shoes.
Isn't it illegal, too, to drive, like, with open-toed shoes? Do you have to drive with tennies?
Yeah, it is actually.
Have a pair of tennies in the car.
Good to know. PSA. Closed-toed shoes.
Are closed-toed shoes what?
That's the entire PSA.
Oh.
Closed-toed shoes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Government says so.
Do you like one of those shoes that, kind of outlines your foot a little bit? Do you have one of those?
They're right there. Oh, no. That's everything.
So now we have PSA and a shoe.
Are those water?
They have aquatic versions of these, but these are not good.
What's your favorite word?
I think pickle and chicken are just really fun to say. Pickle chicken.
Do you use them in like a sentence? Or
I'll just wander around saying it.
What's your favorite book?
Ray Bradbury's Dinosaur Tales is really awesome. Shel Silverstein's ABC book. Shel Silverstein wrote an ABC's book, but just to make parents' lives hell. So like, E is for Ernie. Ernie is the genie who lives in the ceiling. Ernie loves eggs. Go to the fridge and find some eggs. Throw them up to the ceiling and say, catch, Ernie, catch. G is for gigolo. Gigolo is a type of wind instrument. Tell your parents that you want a gigolo for your birthday. But also, like BJ Novak's stories and other stories I really liked. There are lots of good books out there. If you ask me next year, I'll have a different list.
Have you ever tried to write like a novel or something like a longer form?
I've written screenplays. So I wrote one called My Child Has an Exoskeleton. It's about a woman who ignores the label on the calcium tablets that says do not eat more than X calcium tablets if you're pregnant. But she eats all these calcium tablets, her kid comes out with an exoskeleton and a craving for bone.
Oh. It's an interesting.
What happens? I like the premise, but like,
Yeah.
where do you go?
So the dad is really worried, and so he chains him up in the bedroom, and they start breeding chickens in the backyard and feeding him little chicks to sort of satiate his bone cravings. But then at some point he bites his dad, so the mom lets him go, and he's like eating bones behind a Chinese restaurant, and then gets kidnapped by a guy who's running in a dogfighting ring. And so next time he molts, because as he's growing he molts, and so he sets his exoskeleton up as a dummy and then hides. And when the guy comes in to send him in, he kills the guy, runs out, starts living a peaceful existence under a bridge until the people who run the calcium company find out that he exists, and this is what happens if people eat too much of their product. And they're like, we have to end this. So they decide to get an assassin who injects him with a calcium leaching agent. It'll kill him, it'll look like he died of natural causes, but instead it amps up his hunger for calcium. And now he can't sustain himself on bones in the trash can, and he goes on a rampage eating people's pets out of their backyards until a man with a shotgun catches him eating his hound dog, shoots him, and then looks at him and says, oh my god, it's human. And that's the end of the movie.
Wow. That was beautiful.
Do you read like nonfiction?
I do like nonfiction, yeah. Like Mary Roach's stuff I really like. I definitely want to read Michael Pollan's, what is it, Doors of Perception? Or what's the other one?
Anybody's allergic or whatever.
Oh, I'm allergic.
Are you?
But I'm fine. I'll just go home and take a
Michael Pollan's a very excellent writer. He writes about food. But recently he decided to start trying psychedelics and use his abilities with language and describing food experiences to describing the ineffable mystic experiences associated with psychedelics. And I went to hear him give a talk on it in Santa Barbara, and a bunch of vegans who had apparently never read the book or bothered to see what his book was about posted outside with like, how many animals died for this book, Michael Pollan? And it's like, none! It's about psychedelics! He literally was eating mushrooms! Ask how many plants died for this book!
What do you like to do in your free time?
Acro yoga, ecstatic dance, art.
What is it?
Ecstatic dancing?
Ecstatic dance.
Give
So,
us an example.
Yeah.
Can we all dance?
yes, we can definitely all dance.
This is everything.
Yeah.
My commentary on this
And
video.
it's fun.
Look what you started.
By the way, does that, like, if you leave this room knowing a bunch of biographical information about me, I don't know how much that's going to help you in your lives. So anything that you feel would be useful in the days after this class, use me now.
What's your advice
15 minutes.
for college?
My advice for college and for jobs and for pretty much everything where you're trying to decide what environment you want to be in is go and talk to people. That there's no substitute for actually going and feeling the energy of a place. Like after getting rejected from UCLA and going to CSU Long Beach, later I had friends who went to UCLA, so we went and visited them on campus, and as soon as I got there, I was just like, I can feel the stress on this campus. I'm glad I didn't get in here. The quarter system had everybody like, you know, going from exam to exam to exam. And
Oh, no.
CSU Long Beach was a semester system, and so you had this extra number of weeks in any given term to where teachers can like explore and expand things. It's not so pressured. Yeah, and the same with Santa Barbara, that just going up and meeting people there, I was immediately like, yes, this is the school that I want to be at. And it's the same thing, if you're trying to figure out your career and you're like, I don't know whether I want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a blah blah blah, go to those places. If you sit down with a bunch of lawyers and you're like, oh, you guys suck, then like don't do that. Or if you're like, well, maybe it's the wrong type of lawyer, and then you go and hang out with nonprofit like environmental activist lawyers, and you're like, these guys are cool, great, do that. I thought about being a longshoreman just because money, money, money. And then my neighbor, who was a longshoreman and a crane operator, said, come down with me. I think you'd be miserable, but I'm not going to tell you that, just come with me. And so he took me down there, and there was like a dude with his face down asleep in his spaghetti. There's another dude talking about like, oh yeah, it's great because sometimes guys will stash drugs for you up in the crane. And there's another guy talking about how he saw a woman's camel toe at the club, and I'm like, I'm out, I don't like know. So go to the place, go and meet the people. That's my advice.
Do you have a favorite like topic to write poems about?
I like dropping into other ways of being. I wrote a poem about a tortoise, I wrote a poem about fish, I wrote a poem about an alien. But I really like the imaginative exercise of stepping back and saying, what if I were a sociopath? What if I were a young girl who's listening to a CD? There are so many different versions of existing, and they're all connected to your version of existing. Yeah, so that's the kind of writing I like to do, dropping into other headspaces.
Do you have any relationship advice?
Yeah. So I got this sort of 3-step boil down for conflict management in relationships. Appreciate and validate. All things said and done, no matter how much of a pain in the ass you are right now, I appreciate that you're here, and whatever you're currently expressing, whatever feelings there are, I'm trying to understand what your reasons are. So appreciate and validate is step number 1. Respect personal dictionaries is step number 2. I can't tell you what a big thing this was for me. I used to always argue with my sister and then realized that she was just defining things different from anybody else. I won't say wrong, but like not the dictionary definition. And I'm like, I'd open up the dictionary and say blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, that's not what it means to me. And I'm like, well, okay. So you mean a different thing. But in a subtler way, everybody does this, especially if you want to talk about issues of God or right or fair. Any of these like morally packed, subjective terms are defined by people differently. Instead of saying, no, I wasn't doing that, you say like, let's define what this means. Like, here's what I was actually doing. And the third step is state facts. What that really means is like curiosity over judgment. I don't know, so give me an example.
I mean, I don't know. Like, the only thing I can think of is, like, politically, people kind of react with their feelings, right?
Okay, so you're not having, like, a relationship thing right now.
No.
You're just asking for the future.
Yeah.
Good that you're preparing. Because a lot of people will say, this was blank, and it's some version of good or bad. Like, you did a bad, stupid, shitty thing, and then they'll follow it up with shoulds. Like, you did this, you should do this. And all of a sudden, whoever you're talking to is left feeling judged, unaccepted, misunderstood, and then they get defensive. So if you want to melt that, you just state facts. You're like, so you just did this thing, and seeing that left me feeling this way, right? Those are facts. No one can argue that. Like, can't argue, no, you didn't feel that way, or no, I didn't do that thing. And if they did that thing and are telling you they didn't, then get the hell out. But if you can agree on, like, this is the reality that we're living in, and here's how I feel about it, how do you feel about it, that's a lot healthier. So, appreciate and validate, respect personal dictionaries, state facts, relationship advice.
What's, in your opinion, like, what's a good way to get to know someone if you're kind of just meeting someone?
See how deep you can get as quickly as possible. You know, because superficial stuff, just, it gets so boring. Like, oh yeah, you like hiking? Me too! This is not like the presidential elections where you're like, how many people can I get to like me? You're like, who will like me for who I am? So get straight down to who you are as quickly as possible. Here's something weird about me. What's something weird about you? Oh, you like this? When did you get into that? Do you ever get afraid about this? Ask people questions that you're nervous they might take the wrong way, and if they take it the wrong way, then walk away. Because if they can't be real with you, if they're not comfortable being real with you, then they're not ready to be in a relationship. Fair? Yeah.
If you feel self-doubt when you're writing, how do you overcome that? Like, did you ever write something and think like, oh, this sucks, I don't want to write anymore? Like, how do you adapt to that and go from there.
It's all fuel, and it's meant to be burned. If you think of everything as a draft, essentially, right, and just refining and refining and refining, then it doesn't matter. Like, write shitty stuff. Write it and let it be shitty. Because the best writers are good editors. They're not good first draft writers. They don't sit down, like Shakespeare didn't sit down and just, well, there's Hamlet, right? He was like, maybe he runs it by Mercutio or whoever his friend is that's sitting next to him. He's like, hey man, that's a great advice. I'm going to put you in my play. Thinking and writing are the same thing. And writing is just a way of capturing those thoughts. And these things are fluid, so let them come out, all of it. Just put it down. Yeah. So don't think about the audience too quick. First drafts are always for you. You get out your message. Then you think about how to craft it for the person that you're trying to reach, right? That's why you should never hit send on those texts that are really important. Read the text before you hit send.
What advice do you have for self-development? Because I feel like that's like how you in your life recently.
Yeah, so Eleanor Roosevelt has that quote about do one thing every day that terrifies you. I really think that that's good general advice for everybody. If you're not actively pushing your comfort zone, you are shrinking in what you're able to deal with and what you're able to manage. So I'll give you an example was, I used to get really frustrated about going out at night with the expectation of meeting people. I would go out and people wouldn't want to talk. They'd all be there with their friend groups and I wouldn't meet anybody and I'd walk home alone. And I was like, okay, well that sucks. So how can I reorient this in my mind to something that's positive and productive? So my goal became, get rejected by 5 people every time you go out and do it well, right? Go out and say, hello, and they say, not interested. And you said, well then, have a good evening. And then you're like, that's 1, and then you go out and you get 4 more. And next thing you know, you're super easy walking up to people because you're not doing it with the intention of like, oh my God, are they gonna like me? Are they gonna think I'm cool? You're going up like, well, they're either going to talk to me, I'm going to have a great conversation, or I get 1 more on my scorecard of 5 rejections for the night, you know? So make it fun for yourself. Life is too optional to take seriously. You can always kill yourself, okay? So have fun. While you're here, life is a game. Play with it. I do the same thing with my classes. People don't read. You assign readings, and then you want to get angry as a teacher. But as a teacher, I'm like, wait, I love teaching. So anytime they come in and they don't read, I think about creatively, how can I get them to read instead of wasting any energy on hating on them for not reading. It's the same thing. In your friendships, in like your thoughts about yourself, just think about like solution-oriented. What's a fun game I can play to make this a growing exercise?
So how do you get them to read?
Okay, so the way that I got them to read was, I said, the reason we want to read is so we can have good in-class discussions. Currently, I ask a question and everybody sits quietly because we haven't read. And that means that we can't have the kind of educational experience that I think we'd all enjoy. So does everybody agree that we need to read more? Great. Okay, next step. What can we do to make sure this happens? I think that if you can write down 2 quotes from every reading and then have a little explanation of why you pulled that quote, that's all. Like, I don't need you to summarize the paper. I don't want to trap you with, like, find this fact. Just tell me something that made you excited. Is everybody okay with that? And everybody's like, yeah, that's fair. Write down a quote, explain, right? And so everybody gets on board with that, and then I use it for attendance. So they come in, and the first thing I do is, like, show me your reading notes. And boom, boom, boom. So I get attendance, and I see their reading notes. Because it wasn't like a drudgery assignment, it's just talking about your feelings, they would just, like, write all these really thoughtful things. So all of a sudden, people are reading. And maybe they didn't read the whole thing, but they read enough that we had amazing conversations. So that was all I needed to do, right? No hate involved. Thank you for the single clap. I appreciate it. And if anybody wants to get in contact with me, at .com. I am happy to talk. That's right.
All right, so people remember Monday.